Hello, girls. Hello, and welcome to today's Gorlworld update. So, I just realized that I didn't give an update on Studio Deets' explanation video or apology video, or where they were explaining their involvement in the Discord. So, I did watch it. I'm also not too sure of Studio Deets' pronouns. I don't know if they go by she or I'm not too sure. So, I'm just going to say they just to be safe. I'm not too sure. I checked on the channel and I didn't see any pronouns listed there. So I'll just be referring to Studio Deets as they. My observation was they spent a majority of the video almost trying to convince the audience about two things per se. Firstly, being about how great this Discord was, that it wasn't too big. There was just like maybe 8 to 10 people active, and then other people would come in and out. Our perception of the Discord was wrong, that they were in there having banter, encouraging each other, giving each other feedback, all that stuff. Almost trying to say, hey, okay, yes, what's been exposed happened, but that wasn't what was happening all the time, almost trying to negate the fact that they were talking ish in there.
It was mainly just me kind of getting to understand who was in there, getting to know the people, catch the vibe, see how people interacted. I would say I probably didn't interact a ton, but I was interested in getting to know these people and giving it a real go and seeing if I liked it. So I was definitely participating. And yeah, as I said, this was a pretty small group of people. We would be chatting on and off all day and all hours because of time differences in the world. It kind of just depended who was awake, and we were just chatting. That's it. It was actually really nice to be in there. It was not a lot of shit talking, honestly. You guys have seen 8 screenshots? Out of how many could there possibly have been from that time period? I'm not going to say blame it on the edit. Those didn't happen. But I will say that it felt very curated, really to make us look the worst we could look. Because the vibe you get from those screenshots, that there are definitely not great things said in there. I'm not going to talk about what other people said, but the one thing you saw me say I will talk about in a little bit, but I will get there. And probably not my best moment. So, as I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. However, the point I want to make right now is that truly was such a small part of the whole conversation that would happen in there. The entire snapshot of what people are seeing of this Discord really doesn't represent it well. Did it happen? Yes. Does it represent the Discord? No, I really, truly, it just doesn't.
Maybe 90% of the time, it was just all fun. It was good energy. But then that quote unquote 10% is still valid. Like what was said was said. What was said is true. And the sentiment behind what was said holds value for the creators who said it. Nobody forced them to say it. They said it themselves. They believed in what they said, right? Secondly, they really made the emphasis on this was a private Discord. Only 2 people could invite people into the Discord, so it was private. Like, I know people are talking about, nothing, there's no Discord that is private, there's no chats that are private, but this was a private Discord. That was the emphasis they were trying to make.
I do want to say this. I know that a lot of people have said there's no such thing as a private Discord, and I would be and have been naive to think anything else. Okay, there are just a couple of things that I want to say about that. The first thing about it is that this was something that you had to be invited to. It wasn't publicly open and available. Only, I think, 1, maybe 2 people had the ability to offer invites. I couldn't invite anybody if I wanted to. So I don't think this can be compared to, for instance, sharing comments that somebody left on a public-facing YouTube video, like I do sometimes, right? Those comments are left there knowing that they are in full public view and will be seen by absolutely anyone who wants to see them because they're there publicly. Whereas this you had to be invited to. It is not the same thing when there's only 1 or 2 people who have even the power to extend an invitation to enter this server. It does say private. Even if there are people out there saying no Discord is private, technically this was a private Discord server. Only a couple people can send invites. I don't see that being public, okay? That could be getting into semantics, but honestly, I really don't even think that's semantics. I think that's reality. It's just that people seem to think it's normal to make that public anyway. What I see is this normalization of behavior, of no server is private. Just makes it something that happens often. It doesn't actually make it okay. I honestly did feel violated seeing what I thought were private conversations being put in all of these videos across YouTube. Just put yourself in those shoes of, man, I literally thought I was just speaking to some, relatively new acquaintances, and one of them did this. One of them took screenshots of our conversations that we thought were private, naively, and made them public. And yes, I was naive. I'll take that lesson, and I will walk away with that for sure from this entire.
My thought is this: sure, it might have been private in terms of access, only a few people could get in, but that doesn't mean that whoever was let in had the intentions of keeping this quote unquote private Discord private. And especially knowing there's a number of public figures in there, and also Rachel mentioning that the people in there kind of knew that one day it would be leaked, but they didn't think it would happen. And now it's happened. So here we are. You can't say that it's private. Sure, private in terms of who gets access, who gets sent the link. But then whoever you let in may not have good intentions because something may have happened that they didn't like, which I assume is what happened. And they were like, oh, really? Bet I'm going to release these things. So yeah, and that's what Studio Deets had to say. And also just to add, Studio Deets also mentioned that they've been receiving a lot of hate, especially in relation to their sexuality and their gender. And I don't think that part is okay. Like, let's just focus on what was said. Studio Deets shouldn't be attacked for that. I don't agree with that on that point. After Studio Deets made the video about the Discord, they came back with a video in relation to the leaked voice note that Emily sent Rachel.
Hater hotline. This is Deets. What you got?
Snowflake was asking me about like questions about her hygiene, and I could have gone there.
Kind of feels like we're picking up in the middle of a conversation here.
But I'm like, I don't want. I'm like this. I'm like, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
I get it.
Stooping to her level.
Whatever you want, you do you.
And she didn't shower very often. Like, it got less and less and less.
Oof. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's gross. I think we already knew that, though, you know? Like, that's not really news.
She didn't ever wash her hands after going to the bathroom, but she used the fucking washcloths.
Still uses the washcloths?
And, like, I got pissed because, like, I'm like, I'm gonna put this bottle of spray bleach next to the counter.
Yeah.
And I want you to clean up after yourself.
Fair enough. Totally fair enough.
Because I'm like, germs, you know, that's gross.
Yeah.
It has ruined a lot.
And she was like so upset and offended by it. I'm like, what? Like, that's just being respectful to like others in your household. You know what I mean?
I totally get it. I understand. She has no respect for her girlfriend or girlfriend's house. You know what that is? That is a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you for calling in. I gotta go though. There's somebody at my door. I'm glad you told me all this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this information, but yeah, I don't know if I want you to call back here, but we'll see. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
It's also interesting. So I saw this comment on a forum, and I tried to look for it, but there's just so many comments and it's probably buried in there. But Studio Deets, it seems like they're leaning into their villain era. I guess it was, probably tongue in cheek, but this is what they had to say. So I'm not too sure the context of the conversation because I couldn't find it, but Studio Deets says it's about a lot of crap. And then someone replies with a little shy face, laughing emoji, like blush covering the mouth. And then Studio Deets says, I've decided if people want me to be a villain, I'm now in my villain era. And then someone else replies to them and says, it wasn't people who decided you were a villain. It was your poorly chosen words that showed us what kind of person you are, and deciding to make light of it instead of addressing it speaks volumes. So Studio Deets is going into their villain era. I think I like to assume they're joking, but you never know. And yeah, they're doubling down, saying, I said what I said. The Discord was private. You guys are attacking me. I feel violated. I don't think it helps Studio Deets' case because this whole villain era and doubling down on what they said, I don't think that works in their favor. But let me know, what do you think about their response to all of this? So moving on, Jawbone, as we know, he's the one who released the voice note from Emily. In my opinion, kind of like a deflection to get the heat off of Rachel. The voice note he released was altered, but altered in the sense that he removed that part where Emily says, don't share this, like don't talk about this with anyone. Right? So this is what Jawbone has to say about that. So Jawbone says in the community post, I edited the audio because my video was specifically to question Emily lying to Amber about the rumors. Once Amber got wind of this whole voice note thing and the sync allegations, she messaged Emily and said, what's going on? Emily said, I don't know. So that's what he's referring to. I knew multiple people already had the full voice clip with all the non-washcloth yapping. I just wanted brevity. Ultimately, the voice note pool anecdote is only out there because Emily decided to share it on the internet with Rachel. And Rachel shared it to a Discord. Same reason some of my private conversations are now out there. That's techie. That's a bit messy, but okay, I'm just sharing the news. But somehow we've now arrived at a point where the quote unquote no communication is private crowd from a couple of days ago are stumbling over themselves to defend a death feeder's rights to private communication with a laughing emoji. Surely we can all admit we're hypocrites in this. I know I am. Let's not fully lose sight of the plot here. On the topic of the voice note, Amber talked about it. She kind of responded to it, but not as extensively, just like touching on it lightly in her own Amberism way. So this is what she had to say.
Things. Emily never flirted with Rachel. I just want to make that very clear. I mean, at least that's what Emily tells me. But then again, she told me that voice message never happened, and then I heard it my damn self. So we don't have to get into that. But in that screenshot,
I reply shortly. I'm just about to go into blank and can't reply for a few hours. I'm not ignoring you and I will send a reply. If these screenshots get shared by another party and that word is not blanked out, I am going to be absolutely fucking livid, because that covered up word there is a very private, very personal thing that I do in my spare time. And if that gets out because some person doesn't know how to edit a screenshot, I am going to be, or how to respect somebody else's genuinely private matters that have got nothing to do with the internet, I will be absolutely livid. And so I just hope that whoever shares these screenshots, if they've got, because I know they're out there, if you don't cover up that word, you're just a fucking loser.
I didn't know what it was. So I asked. I'm not gonna lie. Because everyone was like saying things about it. And I know what it is. And I would never say what it is because I'm not like that.
So to close, let's talk about Teamus. What are your thoughts on Deets Jordy teasing 12 days of Teamus? It's kind of like a spin on like the 12 days of Christmas. He's teasing 12 days of Teamus once Amberlynn starts her Vlogmas series. In his recent live streams, he teased this clip.
Yeah. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Amberlynn with a femme girl? Huh. I don't know. I mean, Danielle could be femme for all we know. But I don't know. There's just something in me that tells me that Danielle's not femme. I don't know. I just get a strange inkling that Danielle isn't. I mean, you know, it's not like I know anything about that person or, you know what they look like or anything, but I just get a weird feeling that she's not femme. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had seen Danielle. I wish that I had ever, laid my eyes on this person before, because I, have talked about this person so much on our channel before. I mean, we've talked about Danielle and we've referenced her a lot. It's crazy to think like we have talked about this person so much, but yet we know so little about her. We don't even know what she looks like. It really is crazy.
It's the real stuff.
I'm going to say one thing. You all fucking bitched at me last week. You fucking bitched at me nonstop. You never spill tea. You never spill tea. And I wanted to do Teamus, and I wanted to do fun shit, and no, throw your fucking tomatoes. Like, that's just it. You guys want fed constantly. You want shit constantly spoon-fed to you. That's not the way that I operate. That's not the way that I operate. Just because you demand shit and act like an unruly toddler that didn't get a Happy Meal, that doesn't mean that you're gonna get it. Patience. Fun.
That is a clip from Oh Lordy, It's Jordy's live stream. And I've seen some speculations in the community about Jordy's mods being in that Discord. I'm not too sure how true that is. And that's why he was able to access the information. But if you recall, in one of those Discord chat screenshots, Jawbone kind of mentioned that, oh, Jordy was blooded in by other creators. He got information and then left. So what are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, girls.